Get ready for the Health and Wealth Expo Live Summit, May 15th and 16th in New Jersey. Learn how nurses are building six-figure businesses and prioritizing wellness. Register now at healthandwealthexpolive.com.
So have you heard about Newark Airport? So Newark Airport have had airport delays. This has been going on for days now. My son is actually supposed to go to North Carolina, and because you guys know I'm in New Jersey, and my son's supposed to go to North Carolina. A friend of his is graduating. And I said, listen, you got to catch the train or try to fly out of another airport. CNBC News has reported that the Trump administration has restarted the student loans. Now, the U.S. Department of Education will resume collecting on defaulted student loans on Monday. More than 5 million borrowers are currently in default, and the total could swell into roughly 10 million borrowers within a few months, according to Trump administration.
Welcome to Nurses with Voices. I'm Dr. Lendra, your host and fellow nurse who's traded in burnout for breakthroughs. I'm here to show you how to transform your nursing career into one filled with purpose, reduce stress, and incredible opportunities. Whether you're looking to start your own business, build generational wealth, or simply find a healthier role in nursing, this podcast is for you. Join me to explore practical strategies to overcome burnout, combat bias, and chart new paths in nursing. It's time to reclaim your voice and reimagine your future in healthcare. Let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Nurses with Voices. I'm Dr. Lendra, and I cannot even believe that the Health and Wealth Expo Live Summit it's like less than 10 days away. And I'm super excited. And if you guys have not registered for the Health and Wealth Expo Live Summit, head over to healthandwealthexpolive.com. We do have one-day passes available. And if you're listening to this podcast from my podcast community, I will keep the one-day pass open, but that's only for my podcast community. So if you're listening to this podcast, you head over and get your one-day pass. But if you want to join us for the entire time, please take advantage of it. We're going to have it's going to be incredible. But I'll get into that a little bit later. I want to talk about a few topics. So have you heard about Newark Airport? So Newark Airport have had airport delays. This has been going on for days now. My son is actually supposed to go to North Carolina, and because you guys know I'm in New Jersey, and my son's supposed to go to North Carolina. A friend of his is graduating. And I said, listen, you got to catch the train or try to fly out of another airport. So it looks like Newark Airport will have continued delays due to air traffic control staffing issues and equipment failures. Now, you guys know these planes have been falling out of the skies, and no one can't tell me that this is not somehow related to these Doge cuts. And if anyone thinks otherwise, or if you think the same thing, put it in the comments because I want to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to sip some tea on that one. Then let's see. Let's get into the Trump administration. So we got to talk about this. CNBC News has reported that the Trump administration has restarted the student loans. Now, the U.S. Department of Education will resume collecting on defaulted student loans on Monday. More than 5 million borrowers are currently in default, and the total could swell into roughly 10 million borrowers within a few months, according to Trump administration. The federal government has extraordinary collection powers on its students' loan, and it can seize borrowers' tax refunds, paychecks, and Social Security, retirement, and disability benefits. Now, who voted for him again? As I sip my coffee or my tea, no, it's actually my coffee, guys. But I say this to say, I'm confused because you voted for him to put more money in your pocket. Right. And listen, there's a lot of people out there who has student loan, who was in default before the Biden administration put the student loans, payments on deferment. Now we haven't paid, or you haven't paid your student loan in about 5 years. Now, guess what? Now that's going away. So on top of everything that's going on with these tariff wars and these trade wars, now you have to restart paying those student loans. You can barely afford groceries. Eggs just came down to $4.49. Now what's next? It just keeps coming. And how many days has it been? He been in office? Has it been like, it's been like 100 days or so? And so what do we have to look forward to for the next 4 years? And this, yet again, is why I put together events like the Health and Wealth Expo so that people can really start to take their power back. Because at this point, this is all my opinion now, right? So my opinion is, when you think about it, you have a businessman, a person who's trying to run the country like a business. You have a businessman in office. So because of that, businesses are going to be favored. This is the time to really take your expertise and translate that into a business. Monetize your expertise. How do you do that, healthcare professionals? Well, guess what? You start businesses like IV hydration businesses. But guess what? You don't have to stop there. You don't have to stop at IV hydration businesses, because you can include aesthetics in your business. Guess what? You don't want to include aesthetics? Okay, fine. Include weight loss in your business. You don't want to include weight loss, but you do. Oh, you do want to include weight loss. You don't want to include weight loss. Guess what? You could do DNA testing. There's so many things that you can do in your business so that requires you to use your expertise, and you less likely have to use insurance or Medicaid. There's things that you can do and have a cash-based business and make 6 figures or more. But you got to get in the right rooms, and you got to get around the right people so that you're thinking this way, because there's a mindset shift that needs to occur. And that really, really, truly needs to happen. And we're going to talk about imposter syndrome a little bit too. But I want to just also point out so the Trump administration has decided not to renew the Biden era grants, which includes $1 billion in school mental health grants. That's huge. And that's a hard hit. The Trump administration will not renew Biden era grants worth $1 billion that were aimed at boosting mental health services in schools. A Department of Education spokesperson confirmed to ABC News. These grants are intended to improve American students' mental health by funding additional mental health professionals in schools and on campuses. And you take that away? Are people starting to realize that you voted for an administration that just does not care? I mean, we have become what is the saying, enemy of the state? We have become the enemy of countries. I mean, no one wants to do business with us. Let me tell you something. Now, this may be, again, now this is my opinion, and I'm arguably saying that a lot of our allies have been our allies because of the strength that we provide. Now, a lot of the countries are showing us like, oh, you want to put tariffs? Okay, well, guess what? We're gonna do within our own country. We don't need the United States. Well, guess what? We're gonna put on tariffs too. I saw something on social media how Trump placed tariffs on China. And then you had all of this Trump swag that was made in China. I found it hysterical. Those MAGA hats made in China, right? It was showing how all of it's, he has so much that comes from China, and you want to get into a fight with China when most of your material is made in China. But as I digress, China is the world's second largest economy and second largest importer of U.S. goods. And according to CNBC, entities in China hold at least $784 billion in U.S. federal debt. The country also controls much of the world's rare element supply, which is vital for manufacturing technology. You know, I say this to say, I'm curious to know what point the Trump administration is trying to prove, aside from the fact that you are trying to make this country a dictatorship. My heart goes out to the U.S. federal workers who do not have a job and who are being laid off and being just under constant scrutiny. I know there's mental health needs there. So for all of you U.S. health workers, nurse practitioners who are looking to start your own mental health practice, let me tell you, you can definitely start with the federal government, because I have family members who work for the federal government right now, and the constant stress, when you talk about burnout, this is beyond burnout. This is mental health. These are mental health needs. It's a level of trauma that you're dealing with. You know, these people have worked for 10 years, 20 years, and all they ever know is the federal government. So for you to just come in and just start slashing jobs and doing it with no type of structure or strategy, and then calling them back or, you know, on an administrative, or and put them on administrative leave, and people don't expect to work that way. That's not why people go to college. And then you reactivate the student loan repayment plans. What are you actually doing besides trying to make this country a dictatorship? You're trying to make our country where we have to rely on you and we have to rely on the government. But why would you do that? So for the people who voted for him, I just want to know, what do you think? And let's not forget, just going back to when I was just mentioning about the mental health needs being taken away from the schools, this actually comes from the takedown, I should say, of DEI. So this is a part of the DEI removal efforts, removing the mental health needs. Again, let me sip some coffee. Because I wonder, I truly do. So now DEI is racism. This comes as Trump administration take action at DEI. So DEI is racial discrimination, takes action against, and this is what I mean about DEI being so weaponized. When you have an imbecile in a position of power, these are the type of fallouts that take place. And I'm just calling it like it is. And this is why we're rallying on May 24th. Make sure that you head over to nurseshiftchange.com, follow us on LinkedIn so that you can see where you can report on May 24th to support the efforts to uphold humanities, ethics, social justice, and the sciences, because it's all under attack right now. I know you guys, been watching, I hope you've been watching the Nurse Shift Change series that I've had guests who are a part of the Nurse Shift Change committee been coming on and letting you know how this country is being affected. We have to really keep our eyes open and really identify and understand what's happening, because it affects all of us. It really, really does. And for those of you who think there is a level of imposter syndrome now, just imagine what will happen if all of this continues. And now this is me. I'm speaking on behalf of Nurses with Voices. I'm not speaking on behalf of Nurse Shift Change. But my thing, I say we need to start a petition to get him impeached, right? Well, and before we go there, we have to stand together. And before we go there, we need more nurses and healthcare professionals in politics. So let's start there. And I nominate myself. If you guys will back me, I will nominate myself and I will take the steps that I need to take to run for office so that our voices can be heard politically. Now, I know there are certain communities and organizations that help nurses and healthcare professionals get into politics, and we need more of that. I'm all for it. I'm all for running so that our voices can be heard at the political level, because right now, what's happening in healthcare, what's happening with our research, what's happening in our country, DEI being weaponized, is everything that we worked for. And what did Kamala Harris say? Her campaign was, we're not going back. Well, guess what happened? She said he wants to take us back. She said that time and time again. Tell me, what do you see happening? We're being taken back. And if you can't see that, if you can't see the writing on the wall as to what's happening in this country, it saddens me. It truly, truly saddens me. If you think that this person is doing a great job in office, it saddens me. So I'm going to say this. I want to give you 3 actionable pieces of advice. 1, stay informed. You want to stay informed, but not overwhelmed. Policy changes impact healthcare, from reproductive rights to insurance access to public health funding. You want to follow trusted, nonpartisan healthcare sources, but stay alert to changes that affect patient care, working conditions, and community health. But set boundaries. Too much media consumption can lead to overwhelm. And I think that's a lot of what's happening right now. People are watching the news, they're watching social media, and they're getting very, very overwhelmed, and they're very, very, very fearful, because I feel like everyone who I'm talking to, the word fear keeps coming back up. And you can't fight what you don't understand, but you also can't serve if you're burnt out, right? And if you're constantly like the trauma of what's going on with the government right now with the layoffs, again, that's more than burnout. That's a level of trauma and PTSD that might be occurring. seek professional help if you need it, really. And, we're going to have mental health experts who are going to be at the Health and Wealth Summit. So definitely reach out, or definitely, again, but this is one of the places you want to be in the room so that you can see what healthcare sources or what sources you have right now are available. And the second thing I want to say is organize and don't agonize. And you might be asking, what do you mean by that? Nurses are powerful advocates. Whether it's protecting patients' rights or workplace safety, remind yourself to use your voice through local and national nursing associations or your community associations. Join advocacy campaigns that aligns with your values. So the Nurse Change movement, we're looking at Think HES, we're humanities, ethics, social justice, and the sciences. So align with us if you're a nurse or a healthcare professional, and if you believe that this is what, you understand and see what's taking place, align with us and speak up. Speak up at your town halls, your professional gatherings, or school boards even. Fear isolates and collective action empowers. So keep that in mind. Prepare for policy, but invest in power. Dr. Lendra, what do you mean? You want long-term thinking. You want forward thinking. No administration is forever, but your voice can build lasting systems. Learn how policy impacts licensing, open practice, and care delivery. Start building your leadership skills in your community, in your nursing unit, in your business. Consider running for your local office, your local boards. Support candidates who reflect your values. You don't have to just react to change. You can shape it, and you have to believe in yourself about that. And again, that's where that imposter syndrome comes from. Listen, imposter syndrome is lying to you. And you have to remember that and keep that in mind. Imposter syndrome tells you that you just got lucky, or any minute now, people are going to find out who you are. Stop telling yourself that. You have to identify it and name it, right? And what do I mean by that? Here's the truth. If you're in the room, you've already earned it. I want to share with you 3 ways to overcome imposter syndrome. So I think we've all been there. I've been there. Listen, and I'm being transparent. You guys know I'm very transparent. I've even been there, and I want to share with you how you can overcome imposter syndrome. The first thing you could do is name it. And what do I mean by that? Don't internalize it. Call it out. When you catch yourself thinking, or I'm not ready, what if I fail? Reframe it. I'm learning. That's powerful. That's how you have to start walking your power. The second thing I want to share with you is document your wins. And what do I mean? Keep a proof folder. Start writing down the things. So I journal every day. So in my journal, I'm able to talk about something that I did the day before, or even the previous week, that was a win. So it's a reminder of the wins that I had. And you can keep it as a proof folder. So this is your proof that you've won, or that you're winning, right? Email feedback, testimonials from clients, certifications. When that doubt starts to creep up, go to your receipts. You know the saying when they say, where are your receipts? Go to your receipts. And those are your facts. Use your facts over your feelings, because the mind it can be a dangerous place if you allow it to be. And stop comparing. Like, don't compare your success to someone else's success. Stop comparing and start connecting. Find community, not competition. Why would someone else's success threaten your success? No, that's a resource for you. I say the same thing to people in business when they say, oh, my competitor. That's not a competitor. That's a resource for you. If you guys offer a similar service, because your services and your qualities are going to be very, very different. Your value add is going to be very, very different to what his or her value add is. So they're a resource for you. I know there's been times when I didn't have a medication, and I've called up other air quote competitors, and I was like, hey, do you got some Toradol? Like, hey, or hey, well, go to this pharmacy, the guy here, and ask for such and such. They're resources for you. They're not competitors. I want to remind you that you're not alone in your thoughts. You're not the only person who's ever felt imposter syndrome, and it sneaks up on you in very different ways, but you have to remind yourself of your wins. So if you do these 3 things, this is a great way to start really fighting back with that imposter syndrome, because you have to get over it. And now is a time in this day and age, in this climate of what's taking place, if we allow it imposter syndrome will control us. You have to keep in mind that you're not an imposter, you're growing. Growth is rarely comfortable. And it's okay that you're not comfortable. If you were comfortable, I would be concerned. So when God opens doors for you, sometimes it's like, okay, great. Like, okay, this door is open. I know this was his plan. But sometimes there's some valleys and some mountains that we have to get over. But guess what? If the vision was already placed in your mind to do it, the answer is already there. And your success story is just waiting for you at the end, and you just have to grab it. Before I go, I want you to bring this and the removal of this imposter syndrome and make sure it places you in the room at the Health and Wealth Expo Live Summit on May 15th and 16th. Listen, log on to healthandwealthexpolive.com. We're going to have 2 days packed. I'm packed with just education. So May 15th is really your nurse business development day, or business development day, I should say. And then May 16th is going to be all about wealth building. And wealth building is really going to be intertwined in both days. And we're going to have a vendor marketplace. If you have not solidified your ticket yet, go right ahead and do it. Head over to healthandwealthexpolive.com. I told you I'm going to share in the show notes the ticket to the 1-day pass, but take advantage of both days. Why not? We're going to be having expert speakers like Justin Grant, author of Company Men, a wellness guide for Black men in corporate America. We're also going to have Dr. Danielle McCamey. She's going to be our other keynote speaker. She is the founder and president of DNPs of Color. We're going to have Dr. Ifrit Lamondre, who's going to be talking about medical gaslighting, what you need to know in this climate of healthcare. And we're just going to have other speakers, everyone, Felicia Shankin is going to be talking about marketing, how you can launch and scale your business, how you're going to do that. We have Amanda Jackson from Lowe's Consulting is going to be talking about HR consulting, everything you need to know in your business, right? Or everything you need to know as a healthcare professional, and what you need to know about human resources, from what's going on in today's climate, what's going on in the environment, even for your W-2, and what you need to know for your business, how to make sure that you're compliant, right? How to make sure when to hire, when to have an independent contractor or the company that you may work for. So these are the type of things we're going to be talking about. How to start a mental health practice as a nurse practitioner, real estate using artificial intelligence. And but before I go, I cannot forget the pitch competition. Now, I've been sharing this on social media. The pitch competition, we're looking for 3 things. The 3 things we're looking for is, how well do you know the numbers in your business, right? Do you know your numbers? That's going to be a large part of the pitch competition. How well do you know your numbers in your business? That's going to be 50% of the criteria. Do you know your numbers? The second thing we're going to look at is, what population do you serve? Right. And the third thing is going to be how well you presented, what your presentation was like, how you articulated your business. And that's going to be the pitch. So there's going to be 3 judges, and that's going to be the pitch. And I'm super excited about it. I hope you're as excited as I am. I can't wait to see you guys on May 15th and 16th in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Make sure that you head over to healthandwealthexpolive.com. So until next time, make sure that you guys stay inspired, stay educated, and stay empowered.